Hello students, this is the fourth part of the electrostatics of the class 12th physics. In this topic, we are going to study the electric flux, Gauss theorem and its proof, Coulomb's law from the Gauss theorem, application of the Gauss theorem, 1. Electric field intensity due to the line charge, plane sheet of the charge and spherical shell. So this is the first, this is a unit area vector. The small area of the surface can be represented by the vector ds is equal to vector ds into n cap. S is a surface and the small area element ds, it is represented in the perpendicular to that surface with the this ds, vector ds in the direction of a unit vector n cap. Then what is the electric flux? Electric flux link with the any surface is defined as total number of electric line of force that normally passes through that surface. The surface, this is S is a place in an electric field. Electric field is along this direction, having a equal spacing in the line means uniform electric field, and in that field, the surface element ds is placed, making a some angle. Suppose this is a surface having an angle is theta, then for the small part of the ds, electric flux d phi is equal to E vector E dot area vector ds. So equal to E ds cos of theta. Theta is the angle between the direction of the area vector and electric field. So total electric flux over the whole surface S due to the electric field E phi equal to integration E ds Es cos theta. This vector quantity and its unit is a scalar quantity but property is a of a vector field. SI unit of a electric field Newton. This is a unit of the electric field. It is a Newton per coulomb and this S is a area. So this is a meter square. So unit of the flux is a Newton meter square per coulomb. Yeah, joule meter per coulomb. So again, what is the electric flux? Total number of electric line of force passes through the surface normally. This is known as electric flux. And this electric flux is defined as EDS cos of a theta. And theta is the angle between electric field and ds. So what is the value of the electric flux with this angle? When angle is a greater than 0 and less than 90, flux is a positive. When angle theta equal to 90 degree, flux is a 0 because cos 90 is a 0. When theta angle is a greater than 90 and less than 180, it is a then flux is a negative. So what is the solid angle? The solid angle in a watermelon, the seller remove the one part of part of the small part of the watermelon to check the quality, it is a good or not. That small part is taken out from the watermelon. It is same as a solid angle. The solid angle is a three-dimensional equivalent of an ordinary two-dimensional plane angle. SI unit of a solid angle is radian. This is the d omega. This is the solid angle. Solid angle is subtended area element ds at a center of a sphere of radius r is d omega, this angle equal to ds cos of theta divided by r square. R is a radius. Omega equal to integration total solid angle d omega equal to ds cos theta divided by r square. This equal to 4 pi radian. Then what is the Gauss theorem? This is the important theorem in electrostatic. It is a use to find the electric flux over the closed surface, and this is important in electrostatics. This theorem is line surface integral of electric field intensity over a closed hypothetical surface, this is known as a Gaussian surface, in a free space is equal to 1 by epsilon times the net charge enclosed within the surface. The flux phi E equal to integration over the closed surface S vector E dot ds equal to 1 divided by epsilon naught times the total charge enclosed in that surface. So proof for the Gauss theorem, once again we can revise. Total electric flux over the closed surface equal to 1 by epsilon naught times total charge enclosed in that surface. So proof for the Gauss theorem for the symmetrically for the spherically symmetric surfaces. Considering charge, point charge placed at the point O, and we have to find out or we have to prove the Gauss theorem by for this point charge. So consider the Gaussian surface, imaginary Gaussian surface of a radius r along or out this radius r of this charge. It forms the one sphere which having a radius r, and that from that sphere, small part of this sphere, they say area vector is taken as a ds, and this is a positive charge. So electric field is away from this positive charge. This is the direction of electric along this, and ds direction of ds area vector. This is perpendicular to the surface, means E and ds both are in the same field, same direction. So d phi, this is electric flux. D phi is equal to EDS according to definition of the electric flux. So is equal to, so electric field E due to this point charge equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r square, and r cap is a unit vector. This is the direction of the electric field. Dot ds n cap, this is direction of the area vector. So this is the electric field due to the point charge. Already we studied in this electric field unit. The electric field due to the point charge equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r square, and this unit vector r cap is the direction of a electric field. Dot ds n cap. So 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon q ds divided by r square r cap dot n cap, both are in the same direction, so this value equal to 1. The angle between them is 0 and value equal to 1. So d phi, this electric flux due to the small portion of the ds is a d phi equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught q ds divided by r square. This is the electric flux, and total electric flux due to the whole sphere, by taking the integration of this d phi electric flux equal to integration over the closed surface means sphere d phi is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r square. This is the constant term is taken outside, and integration of a ds over the closed surface. This value equal to 4 pi r square. Integrate the value of the closed surface of the or area of the sphere equal to 4 pi r square. This value is substituted here. So r get cancelled. 4 pi will get cancelled. The remaining quantity q divided by epsilon naught. So it is a proof of a Gauss theorem. Electric flux over the closed surface equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the total charge enclosed in that surface. So here total charge is the point charge q, and electric flux over the closed surface equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the total charge. So similarly, we can prove the proof of the Gauss theorem for the closed surface of any shape, that is the spherical. Now any shape, consider this is the irregular shape or irregular shape of a body, and q is a charge at this place which having a radius r up to this surface. This is a solid angle. So d phi is equal to eds equal to At this distance is r, so electric field is equal to, due to this point charge, equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r square r cap dot ds. They r cap and n cap, they are having a same direction. Angle theta is 0, so this value becomes a r dot r cap dot n cap equal to 1 to 1 cos of theta. So this is a theta, this is the angle. It's not in the same direction actually. This electric field vector is along this direction because of the irregular shape of the body. The perpendicular surface is along this direction. It makes the angle theta. So this equal to r cap dot n cap equal to cos of theta. Substituting these values, d phi is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught ds cos theta divided by r square. This is the electric flux d phi due to the small area element ds. So total electric flux due to the whole surface is a calculated by taking the integration that a d phi over the closed surface equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught same term ds cos of theta divided by r square. This is the solid angle d omega. This is the value of a d omega. Is substituted here and taken the integration, and this value is a 4 pi. By substituting this value, integration of a d omega over the closed surface equal to 4 pi, this will get cancelled, equal to q divided by epsilon naught. So electric flux over the closed surface equal to 1 by epsilon naught times total charge enclosing that surface. This is the Gauss theorem. Then we can deduction of the Coulomb's law from the Gauss theorem. From the Gauss theorem, we can prove the Coulomb's law by the application of, consider a point charge q place a point O and consider the Gaussian surface, imaginary Gaussian surface of radius r, and in that Gaussian surface, this point charge Q is a enclosed, and this sphere having a radius r, ds is a small element, so E and ds both are in the same direction. By applying the Gauss theorem for this case, electric flux over closed surface equal to integration of over the closed surface EDS equal to Q divided by epsilon naught. This is the statement of the Gauss theorem. Since EDS are same direction, so this EDS both are in the same equal to Q divided by epsilon naught. E is a constant at this distance E electric field that depends on the value of a R. So this is a R is the same for over the sphere. So the E is a constant is taken out and taking the integration over the closed surface of a ds. This closed surface is a sphere, so integration of this closed surface ds, this equal to 4. This is the surface area of a solid sphere equal to 4 pi r square. Substituting this value equal to q divided by epsilon naught. Then E equal to q divided by 4 pi epsilon divided by r square. If charge q is a place at a point where electric field is to be calculated, suppose the charge q is a place, this point charge q is not is a place at this A where the electric field is calculated, then F is equal to, according to Coulomb's law, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught q naught equal to divided by r square. So electric field, then force of q and q naught, this equal to q divided by q naught q naught divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. This is the statement of the Coulomb's law. Then application of the Gauss theorem. First application of the Gauss theorem is electric field intensity due to uniformly long straight charge wire. So what the electric field intensity, you can get, this is the long uniform wire having a charge, this plus charge over this wire, and wire extends this minus infinity to plus infinity, means uniformly long wire of charge, this is a positive charge. And we have to calculate electric field intensity due to the infinitely long charge wire. इस long charge wire की वजह से electric field intensity कितना आएगा? So consider this long wire having a uniform charge density, and we have to calculate electric intensity, field intensity due to the uniform long charge wire. Consider a Gaussian surface having a cylindrical in shape. So that Gaussian surface having a three surfaces. So to calculate the electric field intensity, first we have to assume the Gaussian surface. We have to enclose the charge inside the Gaussian surface. So for enclosing this wire charge, we have to consider the Gaussian surface is a cylindrical in a shape. Cylinder has a three surfaces A, B, and this curved surface is a C. So applying the Gauss theorem in this case, electric flux E over this closed cylindrical surface equal to EdS equal to Q divided by epsilon naught. This is the Gauss theorem statement. So this is Gaussian surface is a closed surface around the charge distribution such that electric field intensity has a single fixed value at every point on the surface. So electric field, this value of EdS over the closed surface, it has three surfaces A, B, and curved surface C. So electric field on the surface A due to this charge here, the perpendicular to surface ds, and electric field away from the positive charge, it makes the angle theta is equal to 90 degree, means ds and E are perpendicular. So EdS, and similarly in this case also this charge electric field away from the positive charge and ds perpendicular along this, it makes the angle theta equal to 90 degree. So this is EdS. And for the curved surface, this is the curved surface, ds and E, hold the curved surface, ds and E, they are in the same direction. So this is the 90 degree, this also 90 degree for the surface B. So cos 90 is a 0. So only this E and ds for the curved surface in the same direction. So theta is a 0 here. Cos theta is a cos theta equal to 0, means cos, the value of the theta is 0, cos 0 is a 1. So E ds equal to E surface area of this curved surface of the cylinder is 2 pi RL, and Q divided epsilon naught. Q, charge is distributed over the length of the wire, the length is L. So total charge equal to lambda is a linear charge density and L is the length. So total charge is lambda into L. The lambda is a linear charge density over the wire divided epsilon naught. So substituting this value Q divided by epsilon naught in this equation, E is equal to E into 4 pi RL, 4 pi RL, E into 2 pi RL, sorry, this is a 2 pi RL equal to lambda L divided by epsilon naught. E equal to 1 divided by 2 pi epsilon naught lambda divided by L. Here multiply by 2, multiply and divide by 2, then it becomes 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught 2 lambda divided by R. This is the electric field intensity due to the long infinite wire at a point R distance from the wire. The direction of the electric field intensity is radially outward. This direction of the electric field intensity is radially outward along this curved surface. Radially outward from the positive line charge and negative line charge, it is a radially inward. If this is the negative charge, the direction of the electric field is a inward direction. This is the positive charge, so it is a outward direction away from the positive charge and towards the negative charge. So accordingly, if line charge is a negative line charge, then it will be radially inward. So this is the electric field intensity due to the infinite long wire having a uniform charge density lambda. E is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught 2 lambda divided by R. So another application of a Gauss theorem, electric field intensity due to the infinitely long plane sheet of the charge. This is the plane sheet of a charge. The charge surface charge density is a sigma having a uniformly charged distributed over the sheet. So in this case, I also we have to use the imaginary Gaussian surface to calculate the electric field intensity. So in this case, whole charge is a the field lines remain straight and parallel uniformly spaced. To keep the field lines straight, parallel, and uniformly, this is a Gaussian imaginary Gaussian surface. It is a cylindrical to keep field lines straight, parallel, and uniformly spaced. So this is the Gaussian surface. It is also the three surface: surface A, surface B, and curved surface is a C. In this case, this is a positive charge. Electric field is away from the positive charge. So this is the direction of electric fields, and perpendicular to the surface is also in the same direction. In the same way, for the surface B, perpendicular to surface along this direction ds, and electric field is away from the positive charge, means E and ds both having a same direction in B as well as in A. But in the curved surface, this is perpendicular to the surface ds along this direction, and electric field is away from the point positive charge, so this is along this direction. It makes an angle theta, this equal to 90 degree perpendicular. ds and E are perpendicular. Consider a Gaussian surface of length cylinder of length L. Apply the Gauss theorem for this case. The pi equal to integration over the closed surface EDS equal to Q divided by epsilon naught. It has a three surfaces. Integration. This is a closed surface split into the three parts A, B, and C. A is a this surface, B this is another surface, and C is a curved surface of a cylinder. So in case of this A, E and DS both in the direction same directions, cos theta is a 0. In the B surface, E and ds both are in the same directions, cos theta is 0. And for the curved surface, E and ds having a 90 degree, cos 90 is a 0. This value term becomes a 0. This the cos 0 is 1, this also cos 0 is 1. So this equal to 2 times of a E ds cos 0 is 1. So 2E and curved surface is a pi r square. Curved surface ds equal to pi r square. So 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught total charge distributed over the surface of the curved surface of the cylinder, having a surface charge density sigma, is equal to sigma into area of the curved surface pi r square, or divided by epsilon naught. Applying the same, 2 pi 2e pi r square equal to epsilon naught pi r square divided by a. So E is equal to sigma divide by 2 times the twice of the epsilon naught. This is the electric field due to the plane sheet of a plane uniformly long plane thin plane sheet of a charge, E equal to sigma divide by 2 times of the epsilon naught. This we can write in a vector form. Vector E of is equal to sigma d epsilon naught into I cap. The direction of electric field intensity is normal to the plane. This is a normal to the plane. Okay, this is the direction of a electric field is in normal to the plane. This is the normal to the plane. Normal to the plane and away from the positive charge distribution. If charge is negative distribution, it will be toward the plane. If this is a thin sheet, if sheet is a very thick in size, so both side the charge distribution will be available on the both sides. So charge enclosed within the Gaussian surface will be twice the before. So 2 times 2 get cancelled. Electric field intensity due to the thick sheet having a uniform charge distribution equal to sigma divided by epsilon naught. So when electric field intensity due to the two parallel sheet, infinitely long, thin sheet of the charge, two thin sheets having a charge density is a sigma 1, surface charge density is sigma 2. They are separated by a certain distance. So here the case when sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2 means the surface charge distribution in first case is a higher than the surface charge difference distribution in a second case, and it having a certain distance in between them. So the electric field produced by the sheet of the charge along in this region first, it is along this direction away from the positive charge, and in this side other side it is a E in this way. This similarly electric field intensity due to this first charge, the second charge is along this direction, and this also along away from the charge. So we have to calculate the electric field intensity due to this two parallel thin sheet having a charge density sigma 1 and sigma 2. So in the first region 1, what will happen? E1 and E2 both are in the same direction, and they will get added. So total electric field in the region 1 is equal to E1 plus E2, and this is the thin uniformly charged distribution sheet. So this will be value of the one sheet, this equal to sigma divided by 2 times of the epsilon naught, and this also sigma divided by 2 times of the epsilon naught. So net electric field equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 2 divided by 2 times of the epsilon naught in the this is the in the region first. So in between these two thin sheets, region 2, electric field E is along this direction, and electric field E2 due to this second sheet is along this direction. They are in an opposite direction. So this is sigma 1 greater than sigma 2. So this net field equal to E1 minus E2. This equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 2 divided by 2 times of the epsilon naught. Similarly in the third region, E1 and E2 both are in the same direction, it get added. So E is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 2 divided by epsilon naught. In the case 2, sigma 1 and this is a positively charged and this is a negatively charged two plates, and they separated by certain distance. This surface charge density is sigma 1, this also surface charge density is sigma 2, but it is a negatively charged, this is a positively charged. So this positive charge means electric field direction is away from the charge due to the first sheet. This is also away from the charge. This is also this third region away from the charge. Electric field due to this negative charge, it is toward the charge, and this region first is toward the this plate, region 2 toward the plate, and region 3 also toward the plate. Then electric field intensity to this first plate E is equal to, this is the thin sheet, equal to sigma 1 divided by 2 times of the epsilon naught, but it is the direction is opposite. So the net electric field E equal to E1 minus E2. So E equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 2 minus divide by 2 times of the epsilon naught. In this region, E1 and E2 are in the same direction. So they get added. Net field E is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 2 divided by 2 times of the epsilon naught. In third region, E1 and E2 are in a opposite direction. So there will be a net electric field E1 minus E2 sigma 1 minus sigma 2 divided by 2 times of the epsilon naught. One more case, if sigma 1 is a positively charged thin sheet and another is a negatively charged, but in this case this is a charge density is equal, one is a positive charge surface charge density sigma 1 and another is a minus sigma 2. This is a sigma 1 first is a and another is a minus sigma 2. So the net electric field due to the positive charge along this direction and this is negative charge net electric field due to this negative charge is toward the plate. So total electric field E is equal to E1 minus E2 in the first region and sigma 1 minus sigma 2 divided by 2 epsilon naught. Sigma 1 and sigma 2 are equal and opposite, so they are 0. Net surface charge is 0. So electric field in the first region E is equal to 0 in this case. In between the plates, electric field due to first place is along this direction. This is negative, so the toward the negative charge. So both having a same direction. So this is the net field sigma 1 plus sigma 2 divided by 2 times epsilon naught. This having a same equal. So this 2 times sigma and 2 epsilon naught. This 2 to get cancelled. Sigma divided by epsilon naught. In the region third, electric field E1 and E2 are opposite in direction, so net electric field is a 0. The last application of this Gauss theorem, electric field intensity due to the uniform charged spherical shell. It is a spherical shell. Consider a hollow space, the shell charge is distributed over the surface and we have to calculate electric field intensity due to the uniformly charged spherical shell at a distance r from the center of the small r from the center of the hollow shell, spherical shell. So consider the imaginary Gaussian surface by taking the radius as a small r, so it is a sphere, and the spherical shell which having a radius is a capital R and O is a center. So this is the dotted lines indicate the imaginary Gaussian surface and charge is enclosed in that Gaussian surface. So this a Gaussian surface is a sphere. Take the small part of it is a area element ds. So electric field due to this positive charge it is a radially outward direction and surface perpendicular to the surface also in the same direction. So apply the Gauss theorem when point at a point P outside the cell. This point P is outside the cell. So from the Gauss law, electric flux equal to the electric flux over the closed surface EDS equal to epsilon naught 1 by epsilon naught times the total charge Q. This is the Gauss theorem. Since E and ds are in the same direction, so this cos theta is equal to 1, theta is a 0, cos 0 is a 1. So this equal to epsilon naught. So E is a over the sphere E is a constant taken out and surface of this equal to is a surface of the surface area of the sphere equal to 4 pi r square. Substitute the value E electric field intensity outside the surface point outside the shell E is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught divided by r square. This is the electric field is the value is a same as a electric field due to the point charge, but here the charge is distributed over the surface and Q is a total charge distributed over the spherical shell. So this Q is equal to total charge over the spherical shell is equal to, this is the surface area, surface charge density sigma, and surface area is a 4 pi r square, surface area of the sphere 4 pi r square, and this is a total charge is distributed over the surface area. So E is equal to sigma r square divided by epsilon naught small r square. Electric field due to the uniform charge thin spherical shell at a point outside the shell, such as if whole charge were concentrated at the center of the shell. Then when point B is inside the shell, point B is inside the shell, consider the Gaussian surface inside the shell which having a radius is a small r. So Gauss theorem, apply the Gauss statement of the Gauss to electric flux is equal to electric flux over the closed surface EDS equal to epsilon naught q times the 1 by epsilon naught times. E and ds both are in the same direction, so this is equal to cos theta equal 1. So E ds equal to epsilon naught. So here the charge enclosed inside the Gaussian surface Q equal to 0. No charge is outside the spherical shell. So Gaussian surface, there is no charge is enclosed in the Gaussian surface. So Q is equal to 0. So electric field is a 0 inside the surface. Suppose the charge, this point P is just on the surface of it, then in this case we can use r is equal to small r is equal to small r and small r is the same, then the value becomes same, q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught capital R square. Here at the surface inside the shell, this equal to 0. So this property E is equal to 0 inside the cavity is used as a electrostatic shielding. Means there is no charge inside it, so equal to 0. It will act as a electrostatic shielding, means there is no charge. So sensitive devices we can place inside the cavity of this this known as a electrostatic shielding. So up to R, this is a graph plotted E versus R. Up to R, electric field is a maximum when R is equal to R is this is the E electric field up to the R, it is a 0 center to this R equal to 0. On the surface it is a maximum, and this R distance outside this spherical shell goes on increasing, the electric field will be intensity will be decreases. So this is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, we discuss about the what is the Gauss theorem, electric flux, and application of the Gauss theorem, and also we derive the Coulomb's law from the Gauss law or Gauss theorem. So this is a very easy and useful article or useful lesson in this unit. So prepare it, make your notes. Thank you. Have a good day.